Expanded panel tonight. David Cantonese, senior politics writer for U.S. News and World Report. Juan Williams, columnist with The Hill. A.B. Stoddard, associate editor of The Hill. And syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. A.B., thoughts on the night?
Well, Hillary Clinton surged in the polls between the last debate, her Benghazi testimony, Joe Biden's decision not to challenge her, Sanders' dismissal of her emails at the first debate. Saw such a remarkable surge for her again in the polling against Sanders. He's no longer a threat. Tonight was not going to change a game for anybody because she's solidified her support among Democrats who just wanted to believe that she could win, that her email problems were not so extensive that she was going to be brought down. And she can toss away a line like, oh, well, I answered this in 11 hours when John Dickerson asked her about her emails. The Benghazi testimony had nothing to do with her emails. The FBI investigation is not about Benghazi or anything that happened that night. And it just gets tossed away. Her command of policy details and her ability to just filibuster her way out of any answer, talking about her time in the Situation Room, lots of terms, names, dates, facts, percentages, just blows her competitors away, and she runs out the clock as they try to create contrasts and differences with her when she's, on her way to a coronation.
Speaking of the email issue, Bernie Sanders told a reporter that maybe there is more to the email investigation. It should be looked into. But he was asked about that tonight, and again, kind of let it off the hook.
I was sick and tired of Hillary Clinton's email. I am still sick and tired of Hillary Clinton's email. And the issue is, the problem is the front pages every day we're dealing with that. I didn't know I had so much power. But after I said that, we're not hearing much about Hillary Clinton. What I would like for the media now is for us to be talking about why the middle class is disappearing, why we have more people in jail than any other country, why we have massive levels of income and wealth inequality, and we're the only major country on earth without paid family and medical leave. We've gotten off of Hillary's emails. Good. Let's go to the major issues facing America.
So, Charles, 2 bites at that apple and not biting.
No more apple. It's over. I mean, if he was ever going to undo what he did the first time, it would have been now. He said, absolutely, that's it. The Democrats are never going to talk about her emails again. It is not an issue in the Democratic campaign. Of course, it will be in the general election, but it's not. And he ended it. I agree entirely with A.B. She was masterful. She was able to flick off issues here and there. She even had a nugget for Martin O'Malley when he criticized her on Wall Street, and he said, well, didn't you appoint as your first, something commissioner, a Wall Street guy? End of story. I mean, even a nugget about a candidate who's not a threat was ready to be deployed. She is really good at this. She had 26 or 27 of these with Barack Obama, who's a world-class debater. She came out of that reasonably well, lost the primary, but not on the basis of her debates. That she won going away. And look, it's not even a contest anymore. This is over. Unless Hillary is indicted, unless there's a scandal hidden in the emails that we will hear about, in the absence of that, it's over. This is a kind of a performance. And for Sanders, I don't know why he did it. Maybe he sincerely doesn't want to raise this, and he is a guy only interested in issues. But perhaps he wants to be an ambassador to Paris. And this is the way to do it, is stay away, because you're not going to win, so at least be polite.
The problem Sanders and O'Malley have, I think, tonight is there's no distinguishable difference between them and Hillary on the preeminent issue facing the country right now, which is ISIS. They basically agreed with her on this. They all said this is not an American fight. This has to be led by other countries. And if you want to take her on her record as Secretary of State, you got to do it more directly. They're still fighting about the Iraq war vote she made a decade ago. And frankly, she's apologized for it. Democrats have moved past it. And I think Sanders and O'Malley missed a chance in those opening 30 minutes, which is all we're going to be talking about for at least the next 2 weeks, or if not longer. And there's no difference between these 3 Democrats. They want to squabble about immigration and guns and all that other stuff. But if it's commander-in-chief time right now, and they didn't show that they passed that threshold, I think, tonight.
Yeah, Juan?
Well, I think that clearly this was all about, in terms of its substance, the open, which was about what happened in Paris. And that's why the CBS thought maybe they would shift it or change the format Sanders fought against that because he wants to stay on domestic issues. I think this plays to your point, David. They don't want to really have the argument about how we respond in the Middle East right now. So what the news out of this is one, how Hillary Clinton handled Barack Obama, especially the recent statement in which he said we have ISIS contained. I think he was speaking about ISIS on the battlefield. But the way it's been interpreted by Republicans is as if he had control and could have stopped an event like what took place in Paris. Hillary Clinton comes out and says, no, we don't have it control. It must be defeated. That, I think, does stand up a little bit like the commander-in-chief that you were talking about. Yeah. So I disagree with you on that point. I think she looked like she was saying, I'm more hawkish than Obama, and for you Republicans as well as you Democrats who doubt it, here I am.
Let's listen to President Obama, what he said. Remember, this was taped before the attacks happened, talking about ISIS, and then what Hillary Clinton said tonight.
I don't think they're gaining strength. What is true is that from the start, our goal has been first to contain, and we have contained them. They have not gained ground in Iraq, and in Syria, they'll come in, they'll leave, but you don't see this systematic march by ISIL across the terrain.
I think that we have to look at ISIS as the leading threat of an international terror network. It cannot be contained, it must be defeated.
Charles?
Look, to give Obama his due, he seemed to be talking about progress on the ground, expansion of territory.
Understood, but she talked differently about...
She talked differently. He talked about they're not gaining strength, which actually is not right. They're gaining strength, but not on the ground. So I'm not sure what he said is so outrageous. What she says is right. I thought it was very sort of unremarkable, that entire debate. So I disagree, with all due respect, to reflect the tone of the Democratic debate with Juan on this. I don't think that the ISIS part was important at all in terms of the Democratic debate. There was no audience response. It was so little response and in that segment as opposed to after that I assumed at the beginning there was no audience in the hall at all. Total silence. Nobody cared. There were no differences between them. There was nothing that was said that was new. They were arguing over essentially a wording of whether you want to use the word Islam or jihadist. That's what's so striking. We're hours after the worst attack in Europe in a decade, and for the Democrats, Charles, it's an issue to get out of the way in 20 minutes so you could end up talking about the
respond very quickly and say, but Charles, I think the audience is Republicans and the larger universe, not just the folks in the room and not just Democrats. And don't forget, the Sunday morning shows are going to play that clip. That's the clip out of tonight.
But it told me how unimportant it is to Democrats who were in the room. I was shocked that there actually was an audience, given how silent they were on the ISIS issue.
Because I don't think they're beating up Obama over the statement, as Brett explained.
What made you think that she made herself more hawkish tonight than Obama? She said this was not an American fight. She said
she said it was an American
She said it's not an American-led fight. She said other Muslim countries have to...
as Americans have to be in this fight, David. And then to say that we have to defeat ISIS,
sure,
I think she was trying to strike a different tone. To speak to your concern about is it commanding?
Is that boots on the ground? Is that increased airstrikes? She didn't lay any details out. I think she was very cautious and very vague.
I don't think
we're assuming she's more hawkish.
Do you think it would have helped her tonight in this debate to lay that kind of
No, but I think that's the answer we need. This is the most important debate we're having. What would she do today if she were president that's different than what Barack Obama is or is not doing? I didn't hear anything either way. I heard we have to defeat ISIS, which every presidential candidate on both sides of the aisle is going to say.
She intentionally is avoiding that because right now she needs to make sure that nothing she says tonight can become a Republican commercial against her. So by saying we can't contain ISIS, we must defeat it, it's a little bit of distance from Obama. Yeah. But she will abandon Obama when she's in the general election.
Well, I bet
campaign.
the radical Islam, not calling it radical Islam, will probably be part of that. And I will say that this is a little feistier than we saw for 2 hours of the Democratic debate right here at this panel.